so this is the Hush Performance, basically the EF to Hydro conversion here. So there's many packages you can get. So what comes in the one that I ordered here, this is the bracket that's going to attach to the pedal assembly. Here's my little reservoir. I opted for the billet one. It's got a nice little Hush logo on it. You can get a plastic one, which I believe they use the S2000 reservoir. Here's a Willwood slave here with a already made line here, a little bulkhead style fitting it looks like, and a line that actually connects to bottom there. And I also opted for a Willwood cylinder head that's actually going to mount to the transmission. It's recommended for like clearance situations. I don't think I'm going to have a clearance problem, but instead of running the OEM one, I just kind of opted for this Willwood one too. I think it's look a little cleaner in the engine bay. It also comes with some printed out instructions with pictures. So I'm going to be following those pretty much step by step, and also has a little bit of some videos that I found online via Hush. So I'm not going to show you how to take the pedal assembly out. You have to take the pedal assembly out. If you're unsure how to do that, go look up Garage Built Hondas. He's got a pretty simplistic and straight to the point tutorial on it. But for lack of better words, there's mine on the ground right now. We're going to get to. It is a disaster in here. It was easier to pull the seat out. You got to drop the steering column, and if you follow anything in my build, I've got tons of wires from just gauges and stuff right underneath. So luckily I label all my stuff. We're gonna hope it goes back together pretty close, easy manner. So let's get to attaching this bracket here to the actual pedal assembly. All right, so I took this bolt and washer off here. You have the one up here that's kind of on the brake pedal assembly, both 14 millimeters. So it kind of already just finds its home here, sort of. You can kind of see, you hit the bracket like so. This is going to go through a hole, and this is going to go through. Well, these are where the two studs are going to come through. Stick it back on. All right, I'm not going to cinch anything up there. You can see it still has some wiggle for right now. I'm going to leave it there. All right, so we've got this on here now. Now, if you look at where the clutch pedal goes, you have the hook where your actual, clutch cable hooked up to. I kind of tried to mark it there a little bit. It says to drill a 5/16 hole, just I guess in line with that, where the center of the actual hook is there, and just a little bit below it. So I'm gonna put a 5/16 hole right through there. We're gonna then attach the actual cylinder here. All right, now so the 5/16 hole is drilled. You're gonna have a bolt nut and washer combo here and here. I'm just going to remove those. And then going to slide the cylinder through here. Actually, before I'm going to take these bolts, washers, and nuts off first. Instructions say all those washers are to help shim, so we will see. Gotta put that in there. Put the bolts, nuts, and washers that were here a second ago. Kind of put those back in to hold it. All right, so again, I left this whole bracket assembly loose, so it does this. The idea here is to get this push rod as straight as with the hole that we just drilled here. So you can might be kind of hard to tell from my point of view, or from this point of view, but when I pick this up to kind of be straight and level, this is a little too long, so I'm going to shrink that in there a little bit. But honestly, just the way it looks like it's very straight on right now. But I'm going to have to put this heim jump screwed in there a little bit. So I'm going to unbolt this, tighten that back up. So simple, here it is. Just gonna literally, if you notice, you can unscrew it, and you can screw it in a bit more. All right, so I already kind of removed it, but there's gonna be a bunch of fasteners here. You have little plastic pieces you're gonna have to pull off here of the cowl, and you're gonna remove all that. The cowl's gonna come out now, and basically why you're gonna take it off, it and the wipers, is so with the reservoir, we're gonna mount somewhere up here, and the bolt and nut's gonna come through here so we can actually tighten it up. All right, so then grab the reservoir, put the line on there, and it's gonna be just kind of loose. It says to feed it through the existing cable hole that the clutch cable came out of. So just kind of feed that it through. And something you want to watch for is you obviously don't want to block. We don't want to block the actual strut tower bolts here or anything like that. So we're just going to kind of shove it in there, leave it loose again. Then just sort of feel out. Honestly, maybe maybe something right there. If it's right there, because again, this will swivel, as you can see. That can kind of swivel a little bit, but in case I ever need to remove that or that line, my return or a boost line, if it's right here. All right, so I ended up using a 1/4" drill bit. Bolt goes through real nice. It's still kind of loose right now, just so I get everything kind of in there, but it'll kind of sit something like that. So I got clearance to get down to the upper control arm bolt. I got clearance to get to the return feed line if I need to, and I can get to this clamp there if I need to. I like the way it looks. I'm happy I made the choice of the billet. It's going to go nice with everything else. And the only downfall, I guess, the billet is you can't see if the fluid, if it's kind of low or anything like that. But other than that, I do like the look of it. All right, if you look now here, so here's the line that the kit came with. This end came with the bolt with the 2 washers. It's going to go, this banjo fitting is going to end up going on the slave we put to the pedal. This is going to go to the opposite end. And if you look here in the center, we've got the bulkhead fittings. So we're going to find a spot in the firewall here to put this, and this is going to separate. Basically, it's going to look like this. Firewall is going to be in the middle where my finger is, and this is going to be the opposing side. All right, so if you look to the right there, there's going to be your speedo hole. That's where your stock factory VSS would go through. And to the left, there's a nice little square hump there. You can see the bulkhead fitting that I put there. I just basically drilled up to a 3/8 hole and sandwiched it there. So look on inside the engine bay, it basically comes out right there. So yeah. So ignore some of the wiring mess at the moment, but runs from the firewall again up. I've got it kind of going up on top of the steering column. Probably kind of hard to see. And then you definitely can't see anymore now with the ICU or whatever, everything up there. But the pedal assembly is up there. It's gonna be very hard to see, but so make sure you have everything tightened up before you do it. The 2 bolts that go straight up, that attach underneath this cover. Yes, mine's sprayed tan. Yours probably not be, but the 2 bolts, they come up through here. The instructions tell you, they're a little bit back there. You can't see them anymore. I already covered it, I apologize. But the instructions say you can kind of drill holes and do riv nuts. Probably would have been easier. I put bolts through it and then tidied nuts on the underside there. I had to have 2 people do it. And Loctite of this, they don't go anywhere. But when you do those, you have to remove some ducting underneath there. You'll see what's in the way. But what I did, since the dash was in the way, I ended up using drill bits that were extremely long. I use these essentially that way I could sit underneath the dash and just come straight up with these long drill bits and I don't have to take everything out of the way. You can probably do without these. There might be some other methods, but this is what I ended up using because I was able to sit right on the ground where I just was a second ago, you know, chuck this up inside of the drill and just go straight up. I essentially bolted it actually in. The instructions tell you to bolt it in, mark it, and then basically drill it. I left the bracket up there. I tightened it, put the smaller one right through the hole, and went straight up with it, and then upsized it with the next one there. All right, so I've got 250 miles on this setup, and I absolutely, without a doubt, love this setup right now. It is so much better than the cable. It just feels different. I can't like have any statistical data to show you that it's better. It just feels so much better. Just between the putting like Speed Factory, the detent springs in, the heavy detent springs, just everything just feels so nice. The pedal feels better than the cable did. Everything's great. I know in the directions on Hushes it said that you know, it won't feel like an OEM clutch, which I was like, all right, cool, whatever. It does not feel like the S2000 clutch. It doesn't, but honestly, it feels great. It still feels awesome. It did say only, you know, you need to leave about an 1/8 inch gap, which I'll show you here in a second, between the throwout bearing and the pressure plate, and just to kind of check it. So in the 250 miles, I have adjusted it twice. I will say that, so when it's new and fresh, do keep an eye on it. I think it's a matter of just, you know, the system just kind of getting broken or whatever. But besides that, it's not that, you know, much maintenance you need to take care of or keep, you know, aware of at the current moment in time. I have not tried to like slam gears in it just yet because I also had to put a new clutch because my cable training was a small spline. So I've just been kind of, you know, I don't know, just gently just shifting, you know, below $4 grand, just normal driving around the streets. So there's the slave installed, and I didn't show drilling through the actual clutch fork. But what I would like to add is drilling through this thing is a pain in the butt. My cobalt drill bits were not having it. I ended up having to go buy some carbide bits at Lowe's or Home Depot, and they drilled through it like butter. That being said, when you go to drill it, drill the hole in it. See how you can see how my shaft has a little bit of play maybe? Definitely I recommend that. That way, you know, it doesn't ever get caught up on it. And it's pretty self-explanatory, even though I messed it up the first time, but how it installs. You're gonna have this 90-degree black fitting come up, and then the supplied just hydraulic line or whatever right there. Just gonna screw it on top of it. And your adjustment is all back here. So you can see here, this adjustment will kind of, on this time joint, will go in and out. And then you've got this to adjust the throw, basically, because this whole arm is not gonna be at a straight angle the entire time. So you kind of want to have it so it's, you know, it's smooth as engagement as possible. Now, what I found to doing is, when I had to make my adjustments, I didn't want to actually disconnect the whole hose again. So what I did was I just kind of unscrewed it right here. Well, I screwed this all the way in, and then I unscrewed this nut that's supplied, and I would just turn this heim joint in or out depending on what adjustment I needed to make. It's just that way you don't got to bleed the lines or deal with any of disconnecting lines with fluid going everywhere. So looking at it then now, the amount of play that like I have right now, you might be able to hear it. So I know the throwout bearing is not resting directly against the pressure plate. So with that amount, it seems to be fine. It shifts great, everything like I just said earlier. I mean, I'm so far super happy with the kit. I do apologize for some of this install is not all there. Like, the instructions that he gives you are pretty straightforward, but it's very difficult on my car to show you a lot of this because I didn't take the dash out and I've got a ton of stuff inside the car still. So a lot of it was a little difficult, and I was kind of on a time crunch. As I mentioned, I think in some past videos, I am moving, so I tried to just get some video, and then I would just kind of forget where I'm at, and then I was like, oh crap, didn't get the video. But I figured this can be better than nothing. Someone can at least just see what the kit maybe looks like in the car, or just someone else's point of view of a review so far. And a lot of things in this car, I'll probably try to give like a solid review after a year, or, you know, X amount of road races or autocrosses, blah, blah, blah. But as of now, this has got like 250 miles on it, and hopefully soon I'll be trying to actually put it into gear a little quicker at high RPM. But that's going to be it for this video. As usual, if anybody's got any tips or something maybe that I mentioned here or showed that was wrong or wild, do put it in the comments below. And again, it's not necessarily to call me out on it, but it's to also help someone else maybe that comes across this video, and they can read the comments and maybe learn something else from it, or to teach me something. So if I do make another video or install this on something else, I can correct myself or catch an error that I'm doing now, and I can maybe fix before something crazy does happen. But besides the point, I appreciate everybody for watching as usual. I'm probably going to have one more video in this current location and state that's coming out. And then other than that, we will be off to move into New Mexico, in case someone's watched the previous video. So again, I've already said it, but if anybody's in New Mexico or wants to message me on Instagram or whatever the case is, I'm just curious what the scene is like out there with cars and everything else, you know, for that area. I'm just moving completely a different side of the country at this point. So appreciate everybody for watching. See you guys next time.